Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. AI Summit in New Delhi has grabbed headlines for all the wrong reasons, from mismanagement to theft to Galgotia University's fiasco to even Epstein files, due to which Bill Gates did not deliver the keynote address. Now, on day four, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the global leaders at the India AI Impact Summit 2026 and called to democratize artificial intelligence, making it a tool for inclusion and empowerment, saying, and I'm going to quote him, artificial intelligence marks a transformative chapter in human history. India is not just a part of the AI revolution, but is leading and shaping it. Now, PM Modi said in the presence of the world leaders. But was Modi able to salvage the AI summit after 3 days of regular embarrassment? Joining me this evening is Salman Soz, Congress leader. Thank you so much for joining, Salman. We have Sanjay Kapoor, international affairs expert and veteran journalist. Thank you so much for joining. We have KS Dakshinmurthy, who is the international affairs expert and also managing editor of the Federal. Thank you so much, Dakshin, for joining. And I'll begin with Salman. Salman, what do you think about the AI summit in Delhi? Today is day four, but we've seen constant embarrassment for India, starting from the mismanagement, then reports of theft coming out of it. What we saw yesterday was something which horribly went wrong with what Galgotia University's false claims about that robotic dog. And then after today, there are reports all over the international media. BBC has reported, Sunday Guardian has reported, Al Jazeera has reported that Bill Gates was not allowed the keynote address because of the Epstein files. What would you say to this entire summit and how it has gone horribly wrong for India? And do you think that Prime Minister Modi today, after giving that speech, was he able to salvage the situation?
Nilu, first, this kind of a summit, hosting this kind of a summit, I think it's in many, many ways a very good thing for any country, and of course for India as well. Artificial intelligence is going to be hugely important, transformative, and has huge implications for India. So I think in that sense, having this summit in India, in Delhi, was very welcome. Unfortunately, what seems to have happened is that optics have overtaken substance yet again, and I think I've written about this. Optics during Prime Minister Modi's tenure have constantly been elevated above substantive issues and discussions. Now, I'm not surprised that the Prime Minister, in his penchant to be in front of cameras always, I think that's one of the things that led to chaos in this event was when many business people and others had to leave a major venue because the Prime Minister wanted to get some photographs taken. And I think maybe the bureaucracy, maybe the Prime Minister's team, maybe they all feel that this is more important than anything else. Meanwhile, this is the kind of summit where so much can happen, so many discussions can happen, so many deals can happen. And we really have to think about, by the way, I mean, of course, the Prime Minister is right, this is going to be transformative. But for India in particular, I think the serious issue is that unlike previous technologies, artificial intelligence, what is embedded in this technology is replacement of human labor. And I think unlike previous technologies, I mean, there was replacement of human labor, but in this case, the way it is so direct and so obvious, and everybody's worried about it. I think for India, so it's very, very serious, and unfortunately, we didn't really get to that because of all these other distractions, like this university. Unfortunately, they made a mess of things, but. I really want us to, I want the Prime Minister, I want the opposition, I want everybody to think about what artificial intelligence is going to mean. First, by the way, if you remember, when Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, she, in her budget speech, she led with one scheme talking about, I'm talking about optics versus substance. She led with a scheme on biopharma, as an example, and talked about 10,000 crores being allocated for over a 5-year period for research. That 10,000 crores is equal to 2 weeks of R&D budget for a company like Merck. So this is totally non-serious stuff, and they keep doing this, and that is detrimental to India. I don't know why they keep doing this, but maybe they're so in awe of Prime Minister Modi. But I think India's interests are being hurt.
So you're saying that the Indian interests have been hurt. I'll come to Sanjay now. Sanjay, how do you see this AI summit having made headlines for all the wrong reasons? How would you look at this entire summit? Does it turn into some sort of a diplomatic embarrassment also? What would the other countries feel? Many people say that it was because of various factors because of which the summit has horribly gone wrong.
Asking me,
Yes, Sanjay. Yes.
should I should I speak?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I think the AI summit was launched, was organized for every right reason. But the last 3 4 days, it's got the wrong press. In fact, all over the world, people have been talking with me, and they're saying, "Is it really bad?" Because one had expected so much out of it. But having said that, we must recognize that it has attracted the top talent in the world. The owners of big companies have come in, and wonder why they've come in. Although PM uses very very big words like democratizing the data and democratizing AI and all that, but does he really mean it? Does it really translate on the ground? Because if you look at it, there are too many gaps in what is being said and what really happens on the ground. India is really the cheapest country when it comes to people working on AI. I mean, they just get about $1 per hour is the standard rate compared to $10 in every other country. On top of that, you also have a situation where you are opening up the entire economy for large companies to take over Indian companies or to pick up a stake. I mean, all the AI enterprise also an attempt to take over some of the stuff work that we are doing. I mean, the tie-up that has taken place between Reliance Ambani's with that of the Anthropic has to be seen properly, has to be analyzed properly. So there are many things that are happening, and why are they doing it? You have to be mindful. Despite the chaos, despite the shoddiness of the arrangements that have been made, there has been a certain amount of, you can say, aggression which the American companies are showing, and it is kind of alliance with what the U.S. official said in Washington, that we want India to, to embrace the American stack for AI, and to do practically as an all allies that expects India to also do the same thing. So if we are going to embrace American stack, there's no freedom at all. I mean, in a certain way, we lose our sovereignty in many ways than what has been stated till now. And this is very worrying. And as Rahul Gandhi said in the parliament the other day, that we have no control over data; it's just being sent over to the US. And what are we without data? I mean, the entire fight has been for data, and if we lose control over that, it has been a major cause for anxiety. And there is no public awareness on that. The worry is that a lot of things will happen by the time people wake up to what have they lost, and that is where I think the rub is. Thank you.
All right, Dakshin, coming to you, there was a whole lot of chatter in the morning as to how Bill Gates did not turn up. Earlier, there were the Gates Foundation had put out a message saying that he would be delivering the keynote address. Then, apparently, some source-based stories came out that Bill Gates will be disinvited. Then, finally, today we got to know that he's not attending. And now, according to the stories which have come out in BBC, which have come out on Sunday Guardian, Al Jazeera, they've all reported that it is majorly because of the Epstein files controversy that India or the Indian government did not want to share stage with Bill Gates. How would you look at this particular issue?
See, AI summit of the kind that the government planned is a double-edged sword fundamentally. Either things go very well or things can go badly wrong. Unfortunately for the government, I mean, the way it was organized, etc., was one side of it. It really got off to a very, very shoddy start and very poor publicity. And things keep happening. It's not like it ended there. Then you also had the plagiarism allegation by Golgotha University. Then on top of that, you have the latest one about Bill Gates not, canceling his stock. So obviously there would have been a lot of pressure on Bill Gates, because there was already a kind of a doubt whether he should be attending, he'll be talking. All this confusion was there. Which what it basically did was it grabbed attention when it should not have. So the fact that it took up so much of time, space in the media, and eventually he backed off. So everything has become a news when it should have been completely avoided. And knowing his the links to the Epstein files and all that, this should have been better thought of. So overall, I think it was a summit that was too big for the government to chew. I think the government tried to swallow something more than it could bite. I mean, that's the feeling I get. And also the very fact that AI summit of this kind is being held, I'm not very sure whether AI should even be handled this way, like exhibitions of the 70s and the 80s, when
Yeah.
you had Pragati Maidan and, that kind of thing. And, AI doesn't work like that. AI is something else.
Yeah.
And it probably needs to be looked at differently and done differently.
Right. No, but I'm talking about Bill Gates' attendance at the AI summit. Supposing if the things went off well for the last 3 days, do you think that the government wouldn't have shied away from asking Bill Gates to attend? It seems that because all the things went horribly wrong, so they just didn't want another controversy. Because last evening I was seeing a tweet put out by PTI where they quoted the Secretary, Mr. Krishnan, from the Ministry of IT and Electronics, where they said that we don't want to comment whether Galgotia was right or wrong, but we just want to stay away from the controversy. So that itself shows that government was trying to sort of take a cautious approach.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, if things had gone on fine, probably they may have taken the risk of asking, Bill Gates may have taken the risk of coming ahead and going ahead with his speech. But you're right, absolutely, they didn't want to add and make things worse for themselves by having him on stage, especially given the kind of infamous or the reputation or the the disaster that the Epstein files has been for so many different people across the world.
Salman, coming to you, regarding Bill Gates, do you think that there was some sort of a pressure from America and France as well? Because we did see the White House spokesperson attending the summit. Then we saw Macron was there. And these are two countries where the inquiry on Epstein files is on. So do you think that there could have been some sort of a pressure from there as well? Or don't you feel that that couldn't have been the reason? Salman, can you hear me? Yeah, you'll have to.
I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you earlier, so I don't know what the question was.
America and France are two countries where investigations are happening as far as Epstein files is concerned. Do you think that there could have been some sort of a pressure from America and France both, and the state heads would have said that probably they wouldn't want to share stage with Bill Gates? Could that have been a reason that the Indian government felt compelled not to call Bill Gates today?
Well, first, let me just say that the Indian government has its own share of problems with Hardeep Singh Puri and his appearance in multiple instances in these files, and in a way where it is clear that he was in touch with Epstein after Epstein was convicted, by the way, in 2008 of soliciting prostitution from a 14-year-old girl. So it isn't as if nobody knew what was going on. In fact, in 2010, Epstein had settled multiple sex trafficking claims by parents of female children, and so by 2014, when Hardeep Singh Puri first got in touch with Epstein, I think he already knew what was going on. So I think the government has to answer for him. To my mind, he should resign, because I think it is unpardonable that somebody who's a minister in India had such contacts with a predator, a child predator, well after it was well known that this guy is such a bad person. Anyway, so for that kind of bad judgment, I mean, this guy should not be in the Union cabinet. Now, as far as the US and France applying pressure, I don't really know. I don't think the US would apply any pressure, because the US government itself is embroiled heavily in this scandal, especially at the top, with President Trump appearing thousands upon thousands of times in these files. By the way, right now the BBC is reporting that Prince Andrew, the former Prince Andrew, has been arrested because of his some misdeeds in while in public office. So you can see the seriousness of this situation. Now, Bill Gates, I don't know why he may have. I don't think people generally. It's my sense that businesses are not necessarily that worried about who's doing what, and
But India
so I
will,
don't.
Salman, but India is going to continue with Gates Foundation as business as usual. And they,
Yes.
what I saw was that, their goals and objectives, their concerns around health and other sectors will continue. So, which means that the problem is not with the Gates Foundation as such, but the government had some problem in associating with Bill Gates on the stage, especially today at the AI summit.
Well, again, if the government had any problems, then they should have politely told him not to come to India, and that just that if that is indeed the case, I don't think that is the case. But if that is the case, it just is another instance where this government refuses to think through the things that it does. I mean, if you're going to have an AI summit and you have registration, you let everybody come in, and you have thousands upon thousands of people who have probably nothing to do with AI who are there. Maybe that creates pressure. That means you did not think through what the implications of your organizational kind of strategy are. But you've been doing it throughout. You did that during COVID. You did that during demonetization. You did that during GST. So I'm, again, not surprised, because these people are all about how Modi can be elevated to the status of a deity, and India be damned. I think that, quite frankly, I think for a long time I've been saying that the BJP has this agenda of keeping its political interest over the national interest. And we are suffering. The country is suffering. I mean, there's, as Sanjay was talking about, data sovereignty and other things. There's such important issues around AI. If you think about it, the framing of this thing is that the frontier technologies are being built by America and China and a few other countries. India is not in that space right now, not in a big way. They're trying. Then you have this whole idea of how we're going to implement this, and that is where, in some ways, India had an advantage last time, because when the IT revolution came and the internet came, we had a pool of educated young people who could be deployed to provide services.
Yeah.
But this is not that kind of service. This is not that kind of technology. This is a labor replacing technology. In fact, yesterday, or was it Nandan Nilekani, or was it somebody else who was saying that 95%, I think Vinod Khosla, 95% of doctors are replaceable.
Doctor.
I mean, if doctors are replaceable, lawyers are replaceable, think about the lower end people and what will happen to them. So we have some serious concerns about this, but I have no faith in the government, a government that basically has ceded our energy independence and our energy policy to the United States government. Our government that is basically bent over backwards to please Donald Trump, who's deeply unpopular in America, whose tariffs could be struck down within 1 month by the Supreme Court of the United States. Our government inexplicably, does everything possible to, make ourselves prostrate before that government. I don't understand why, but we can't have this situation anymore. I think people are wisening up to this.
Right. From away from all these embarrassments, Sanjay, coming to you, there was another story which came out this morning only, and coming right in the middle of the AI summit, that Russia has slammed US dictation, saying that there is no change in New Delhi's Russian oil purchase. Now, the Russian foreign minister, in fact, has said that there is no change in India's position as far as the purchase of the Russian oil is concerned. Now, does that also, in the middle of an AI summit where various heads of state are here, the world leaders from 100 countries are there, and then Russia makes a statement like this, does this statement also put India in a very sticky spot?
I don't know what to make out of it. India is buying probably the lowest oil from Russia at the moment, or perhaps very close to what we used to buy some years ago. So this claim by Russia is just to cover India's back in some way, to show that India is standing up. But India is not very keen, not very assertive about whether it's standing up. You look at how Sergio Gior goes to the ambassador, U.S. ambassador goes to the Western Command headquarters along with the Indo-Pacific chief, General, whatever his name is. This has never happened before. I mean, these ambassadors would go visit the Central Command, meet the chief of the Central Command, and go away. But now you have a situation where they are actually taking a presentation, and he's not just confined to India. Sergio Gior, he's heading 7 countries as a special envoy, so he has a different perspective on India and other countries that are there. They're not really wedded to the job that he's doing in Delhi. So this is worrying. I mean, I don't know what to make out of India's claim that oil has come to nothing at the moment, and Russia saying they're still there. It's a matter of time, I think. It's even, I think, uh, President Trump recognizes India's compulsions and probably wink at it from a distance at it.
No, but then
But
what happens?
largely,
No, like what you said, that India is not asserting itself very strongly as far as responding to the Russian foreign minister is concerned. Probably they will not. But what happens ultimately to India's relationship with Russia? Once upon a time, they were good friends. Now, what happens to the relationship between the two countries, Sanjay?
I mean, the fact of the matter is, Russia recognizes India's problems in a certain way. They've said it, that we know that India is under pressure, but Russia would be deeply disappointed. I mean, they would not think that India is a friend who stands up under difficult times. They would time and again they have seen it even in the past, that would always give precedence to US rather than to their own needs. But that is where the world stands at the moment. I mean, everybody succumbs to the pressure that US is bringing in. For a country like India, which is a population of 1.4 billion, we have no business to behave like Venezuela. We could stood up for a while, let the people suffer. As it is, people are suffering because of whatever reasons, and we have, in a certain way, taken the hit on us during the time when the tariffs deal had not been done. So we could have even withstood the pressure on India and continued to buy cheap oil. But the only problem is that Modi lacks legitimacy, because the gains of cheap oil were not transferred to the poor man, to the man on the street. We continue to buy very expensive oil even when we were buying very cheap. So, in a certain way, there is no stake of people of India in what deals we sign. We can be buying oil from US for that matter, and not be truly bothered about it, because people on the street are not invested in India's foreign policy at all.
But as far as Prime Minister Modi's speech is concerned, Darshan, I'll come to you because he spoke for about half an hour to 40 minutes, and he tried to unveil a human centric approach of the emerging technology. He spoke about, he emphasized a lot on sovereignty and inclusivity. Now, just a short while back, I was listening to Supriya Srinath's press conference, and she said that he's talking about, the prime minister is talking about sovereignty and inclusivity, but if any artificial intelligence video is put out by Congress, they immediately try and delete, and this deletion is happening at the end of police, or some sort of a body comes and says that you delete this video. Now, what would you say to this? Then again, what prime minister says and what is being done on the ground, there is a huge difference. So how are we actually going to make this AI technology so inclusive, and also at the same time talk about the sovereignty?
Yeah, I mean, it was I went through his speech, and frankly, I really found it a little difficult to comprehend what exactly he was getting at, because he was also bringing in the global south. He was also saying that AI should be child friendly. It is frankly, I really couldn't, make out much of what he was trying to say, other than broadly saying that AI should be accessible to all, and everybody should be given an opportunity to work on it, or work towards something, a bigger goal using AI. But it was a little bit of a fluff talk, and it's something that it will go. If it, there are these kind of talks, which speeches, addresses, which sound good, they read good, but they in real substance, it would really not amount to anything very much other than a general notion of vision or an idea of how things should be done, something along those lines. But in concrete terms, I really don't see too much about it, because AI is something that it goes beyond all these things, and I think it requires a far deeper understanding and a working knowledge of it. And I think India, if you look at AI in India, I think it's really not much other than your, social media forwards that you get where things are monitored, changed and all that. But you look at China, you look at the US, they are somewhere way, way ahead, and they are really fundamentally changing the way we live our life in some way. So if you look at it from that point of view, we are still, quite far behind. And this speech, in some ways, doesn't really add more substance to it.
Right. Coming back to Prime Minister's speech, we heard a new abbreviation altogether, Salman, today, and let's explain it to the viewers. Now, he said he's taking a human-centric approach, the Manav approach, where M stands for morals and ethical systems, A stands for accountable governance, N stands for national sovereignty, A for accessible and inclusive, V for valid and legitimate. This is how he abbreviated Manav. What would you say, Salman, to this? We've got a new term altogether today where M stands for moral and ethical systems. I'm repeating it. A stands for accountable governance. N stands for national sovereignty. A for accessible and inclusive. V for valid and legitimate. Salman.
The Prime Minister likes these acronyms, and we drown in them, we forget them. We don't even talk about many of the things that they've been talking about, they used to talk about in the past, because that is all they do. It's dramabazi, basically. What moral? I mean, this is the least moral government, as far as I can tell, in India. What accountability do we have? We have no accountability in this government. Even, right now, all that has happened in this AI summit fiasco, or all, by the way, Ashwini Vaishnav, the minister, the real minister as we call him, all the accidents that happened, for example, under his watch, there's no accountability. So they're certainly not an inclusive government, because they've done everything possible to divide this country. So to my mind, they can say as much as this Manav, ye vagara, but that is not what we should be talking about. What we should be talking about is that the United States and China are spending hundreds of billions of dollars on AI, and they've taken a big lead. Other countries are also working hard to kind of create space for themselves. The question is whether India has a strategy to find a space for itself. I don't see that strategy. I don't see anything, frankly. I mean, of course, businesses are trying their own, they want to benefit from the opportunity, so they'll do what they can. But ultimately, we need a national framework. We need a framework where the central government, the state governments, and the private sector, the civil society, everybody kind of grapples with this transformative issue of our times, of our lifetimes. But I don't see any of that. So this hype and this again optics, this names and acronyms, etc. It's a waste of time as far as I'm concerned, and I don't think we should really bother with it. I don't think the Prime Minister has laid out any vision, or the government of India so far. I don't see any vision so far, and I think that worries me. I think that worries me a lot. Every Indian should be worried, deeply worried about what is coming, and how in some ways the train has already left the station, and we're again going to, I don't want a situation where 30, 40, 50 years from now, our younger generation says, what the hell were they doing in 2025 and 2020 and 2030? Because I don't think we're doing them any service.
So, Sanjay, coming to you for the concluding comments on the overall embarrassment which went through for the AI summit, and if you juxtapose that with the outcomes, how would you see the summit? This is the fourth day of the summit. I think tomorrow is the last day. But overall, how would you look at the outcomes of the AI summit?
I agree with what Salman has been saying. I'm also deeply worried about the outcome. There are a lot of gains that can be made from AI. That is fine as it works as a tool, but we will have such colossal job losses. There has been no suggestion how India is going to filter that out, how we can stop job losses taking place. India is a labor surplus country. We don't need an AI actually. Come to think of it, we need AI only for in those areas where labor is not being replaced. But there's no thought process at all. I'm sure somebody said even the planning commission document, the economic survey is saying that Niti Aayog survey is saying that there'll be some losses, job losses of the kind that you have not even imagined. So that is a cause of great worry. And let's see if we can somehow find a way, or there'll be more people going abroad than staying back. Thank you.
So we'll have to end the conversation here. Thank you so much, Dakshin, Sanjay. Thank you very much for joining.